down, I got a text from my Aunt Barbara asking if I wanted to come to Sunday dinner at her house. She mentioned that my grandparents would be there, along with some other relatives who wanted to see me. I was hesitant. Was this some kind of trap? But Megan thought it would be good for me to see family who were supportive. So that Sunday, Megan drove me to Aunt Barbara's house. As soon as we walked in, my grandmother rushed over and pulled me into a tight hug. She was crying, which made me start crying too. I hadn't realized how much I needed a grandmother hug until that moment. The dinner was actually nice. No one pressured me to talk about my parents, but they made it clear they were there for me. My grandfather even slipped me an envelope before we left. When I opened it in the car, I found 5 crisp $100 bills inside. I tried to call him to say it was too much, but he wouldn't take it back. He said it was to help me get on my feet. That money was a huge relief. I immediately used some of it to get off my parents' phone plan and onto my own. I also opened a bank account without my parents' names on it, something Megan had suggested. Things were looking up, until they suddenly weren't. 2 weeks after I moved in with Megan, I came home from school to find her sitting at the kitchen table with a serious look on her face. "We need to talk," she said, gesturing for me to sit down. My heart sank. Was she kicking me out too? Where would I go? "Your mom called me today," Megan continued. "They've noticed the charges on their emergency credit card." I felt sick. I should have known they would check the statements or get a purchase alert. What appeared to be a spare card was actually one they monitored regularly. "What did she say?" I asked. "She accused us of theft and threatened to call the police if we don't return the card and pay back every cent," Megan replied with a grimace. "But here's the kicker. She also wants you to come home." I was shocked. "What? Why would they want me back after everything that happened?" Megan's expression turned grim. "Because their new babysitter quit after just 1 week. Apparently 4 kids under 10 is too much for most people. Who knew?" I laughed bitterly. Of course that was the reason. They didn't miss me. They missed their free childcare. "I'm not going back," I said firmly. "I can pay them back for the card from my paychecks, but I'm not going back to being their slave." Megan nodded, looking relieved. "That's what I told them. But they're pretty upset about the money. Your mom mentioned something about small claims court." I felt a flash of panic. Could they really take us to court? Would we get in trouble? I still had most of the $500 from my grandfather, so I could pay them back right away, but the whole thing left me feeling anxious and angry. The next day at school was awful. I couldn't concentrate on anything. I kept imagining police showing up to arrest me for credit card fraud or something. By lunchtime, I was a nervous wreck. My friend Casey noticed something was wrong and dragged me outside to the courtyard to talk. I ended up telling her everything. She was horrified by what my parents had done. "That's actual child neglect," she said. "They can't just throw you out because you got a job. You're still a minor." I hadn't really thought about it that way. I was so used to being treated like an adult at home that I forgot I was still legally a child. Casey's mom was a lawyer, and she suggested I talk to her about my options. I was hesitant. I didn't want to drag more people into my family drama, but Casey insisted, and after school she took me to her house. Mrs. Thompson, Casey's mom, listened to my whole story without interrupting. When I finished, she had a lot of questions about specifics, dates, exactly what was said, who else knew about the situation. I answered as best I could. "Julia, what your parents did is not okay," she said finally. "They're legally obligated to provide for you until you're 18. They can't just kick you out because